Hi guys, welcome to Manhood Explained. My name is Camille. Today is 6th of October 2020. Welcome to video number 284. Today I want to talk about definitions because I can see that so many relationships are falling and completely are destroyed just because we lack understanding of this subject. And you see, this is something that we are taught in basically our primary school, that you're in math or in physics or basically in everything, but I think this science is much more easy to see. That we are taught that there are some axioms, there are some universal truths that are there for you to measure how much with your own thing and creation you are off or close to this axiom or this measurement. Because we need to have some measuring stick, because if you're going to the countries that use metric system, you've got meter. If you go to other countries, you've got like feet or something else. And when we use it, everybody knows what does it mean. Because you know that meter, it's not this, it's not this. Meter is a meter. And then, if we're talking about, let's say, 50 meters or in 100 meters, everybody more or less would know what does it really mean. And if you want to be precise, you can be very precise. Because we have this measuring stick, because we know and agreed upon definition what really meter means. And you see, the same thing when you take it to the relationships, it's so crucial, but it's much more vague, and that's why so many people are missing this point. Because first of all, ask yourself, what does really your relationship mean to you? In my case, that will be a marriage. What does it really mean? And to my definition is the same definition as my wife has. Because if it is, cool, but if it's not, then we've got a problem. Because for so many people, your relationship, it will be just that we are together. We live together, we've got an apartment or a flat or something. But then, what is the difference in between your relationship and roommates? We can go even farther and say, yeah, but my relationship is that we live together and we've got intimacy, we sleep together. Cool, but how do you differ then from people who basically are roommates and friends with benefits at the same time? And then you can go forward about kids, about money, about mortgage, about whatever. What is your definition of your relationship or marriage? Because the one definition that throughout all my years of being in mine and observing this whole thing, I found this one being the most, I think the kind of the best one that I found that helps you to really build your relationship with everything, because it helps you, it grounds you in priorities so that everything falls into place. And this is that my relationship is a covenant. Is the thing that we agree upon, that we started with love and we want to keep it. And then everything that we do, no matter what we're going to do, no matter when and how, everything would be done for a betterment of our relationship. We're going to protect each other, and we're going to do whatever it takes for this thing to survive. And then rest is that priority is number 10 or 20. The first priority is for us that whatever we do, to make this relationship much more happy and satisfying experience for both of us. And you see, if you don't have this as a baseline, you will have a problem, because you're going to have misconception, and then you're going to end up in a completely different place with completely different kind of things that you're gonna expect to be there, but they're not, because she has completely different definition of it. And that is a good segue to point number 2. You've got to understand that many things will differ just because we're just different people. And one of the major things that will have impact on this is your gender. I'm going to generalize now and probably over-exaggerate. But in general, men are much more visionary. They look much farther in time, like 2 years, 5 years. They have like a vision for the future. and they're much more chill. Like, when man comes from work home, he wants to just chill out and have fun, right? So that's why combining these two, it's kind of understandable why the guys, they don't really care about the small details of day-to-day life. But you can have wife in your relationship. You both have the same kind of approach as we talked in point number one, but she will look completely like most of women. That she's gonna look at be much more close to the earth, looking at day-to-day things. Many times she's gonna take care of the apartment, she's gonna take care of the kids. So that's why she's so much more concentrated and detailed on the things that are happening right here, right now. That's why men, they might completely not care about the dishes which are in the sink for third day in a row, because he will have issue when there will be no more clear dishes left. Then he'll have to clean it up. For ladies, that's going to be unacceptable. The same thing with trash. The same thing with clothes and so on. So that's why you have the same people having the same kind of mindset and approach to do everything for the betterment of the relationship, but then it all falls down to the details, because as we say, the devil is in the details, right? So that's why this is the second thing, and you need to kind of figure it out, especially at the beginning of the relationship. It's good to kind of go to the priorities list and see what is the most important for you, what is the most important for her, and then say, okay, so we can see that there are differences. How do we make it work? That's how the relationship is built. To combine completely two different people and to find a way to make this whole thing a smooth and really enjoyable experience for both of you. And then point number 3, which not many people talk about, I'm going to tell you because I experienced this and you need to know this. People say that people don't change. Yeah, they do. Have you ever tried to compare yourself when you've been 15 and now when you're 40? Or somewhere in that range, wherever you are. You're a completely different person. Maybe your features and bugs, you're kind of the same person to some degree. But so many things changed because you grew up, you got more mature, you've got more experience, you've got more money, you've got different goals, because you grow up. And maybe it doesn't seem like something that you don't see this change, as you don't see how you grow up when you were a teenager. You then look at the mirror and say, wow, I grew up so much since yesterday. You can't see that. You can see how your face is changing. But people who didn't see you for a year or two, they will tell you you're a completely different person. The same thing happens in a relationship. Maybe you got married and for 5 years you both were completely okay with spending evenings and weekends, I don't know, Netflixing and sitting under the blanket watching your favorite TV shows, eating ice cream. But after some time you get to the point that something is changing, and maybe after 5th, 10th year you want to start traveling the world. And then what are you going to do about it? It's completely flipping your world upside down. How are you going to tell that to the person that you spent last X amount of years watching TV and staying home all the time? And you see, this is what I was pointing to yesterday, that unfortunately ladies have much more tendency to keep these things in themselves, and they kind of try to grind through all of this, and unfortunately when they are not talking about it, they're getting to the point that they are so frustrated that you don't see the change, and they get so dark in the way they perceive reality, and how everything that you've done wrong, it's confirmation that she's right, that you're a completely wrong person for her, that when she explodes, first of all, you, as most of the guys will say, but where did it came from? What just happened? And for her, it's at the end of the world. And that's why in whatever happens in your life, there are 2 things you need to understand. One, how is that applied to rule number 1? How is this kind of behavior falls into place with you aligning everything for the betterment of the relationship? Because it's not. The same thing that you do, maybe for years you just vanish for a whole weekend just because you play with your guys, you just sitting in a bar or something. And then maybe at the beginning it's okay, but then when years go by, how is that for a betterment of your relationship? And don't be surprised that your girl is angry at you, or that you lost another, tons of money on gambling. But the second thing, you need to understand that whatever we're talking about, you need to learn how to talk about. Talk about it. Communication is like a basic skill that will allow you to achieve success in all those three kind of areas that we talked about. You need to learn how to talk to each other. And amazing thing, you can hear that over and over again. Everybody will tell you, you've got to talk about it. You've got to talk about it. You've got to talk about it. Have you talked about it with your wife? Have you talked about it with your husband? But then we not doing it at all. Or even when we do it, we do it wrong, and we start to argue rather than talk about it. That's why, listen, you've got to learn to kind of open up, because many things you'll understand when you're going to talk about it. And that's like a psychological thing, that many times you just need to talk about it to get to the point. What do you really feel, and you have issues with giving a name to it, or name it. That's why this is what I want you to take from this video. And I'm talking especially for you guys. You want to be a smart guy and you want to lead, then this is your responsibility to go through each of these points and make sure that everything works like a Swiss clock. Because if she's taking that responsibility, you've got to ask yourself, who is wearing pants in your relationship? Having goals, having a definitions, and agreed upon them, and then being able to really be good in communication, to talk about stuff before they become a problem. It's a baseline for every happy relationship, and it's a baseline which is your responsibility. That's why think about it and do something about it. Because the only way to build a satisfying relationship is for you to lead, to have a shared and agreed definitions, and do that by effective communication. If you like this video, like, share, and comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, give me a shout and I'll be really glad to do it for you. That being said, see you tomorrow.